Fox business commentator and radio host Tom Sullivan sparked some controversy when he spoke about mental health on his show. Let's listen.
I just wanted to call in. I actually was diagnosed at the age of 17 with bipolar mood disorder. And since then, I'm 30 now. So in the last 13 years, I have graduated college. I also was holding a full-time job. And I volunteer with Stop Stigma Sacramento, which is a mental health campaign about their motto is mental illness is not what it seems. But regardless of my ability to function in society, I also have disabilities that, this disability of mine, this mood disorder, is actually an illness, and it is biological, not necessarily something I can just make up and say, hey, I'm, feeling PMSy or whatever, that's not necessarily how it works. And I think that, and I know that you're, well, at least sounding from what you've been saying, that you're also not familiar with mental illness in the same capacity that I am.
Anjali, I'm very skeptical. And okay. I got to tell you, if you haven't been told, I will tell you. I think bipolar is like the latest fad. Everybody and their brother is getting diagnosed with bipolar. And last time I checked, we all have good days and we all have bad. And I don't consider that an illness, and I don't consider it a disability.
That is very true. However, there are people that have the extremes of that. So they have their bad days are beyond you cannot get out of bed, not because you don't want to.
What were these people called 25 years ago?
Well, you know what?
Before they came up with this bipolar diagnosis. I just think it's something's made up by the mental health business just to be able to give people prescriptions and keep them coming in and keeping you paying them money.
Now, if you want to say there's an issue with conflict of interest in the medical community in general when it comes to big pharma and doctors, I'm with you on that. And we've covered stories about that, and we've given details on that. But the devil is always in the details. You always have to give specifics when you make a point like that. You can't just speak in these broad ways like this guy is doing. And, of course, there needs to be better regulation of that and better enforcement, too. And also, if you want to say that the field of psychology needs to be perfected, because right now it's essentially a soft science, it's not a hard science, I'm also with you on that, too. So, for example, the DSM, which is the psychologist's Bible, as they call it, I know because originally I was a psychology major, it's based off of psychologist consensus, and it's not based off of double-blind, peer-reviewed studies. So can we improve there and move away from psychologist consensus and move towards true science, rigorous science? Absolutely, I'm the first one to argue for it. In fact, I did when we did our segment after Robin Williams died. But if you're saying that bipolar disorder is a total conspiracy and it literally doesn't exist, you're an idiot. And that is what you're saying. You're clear about that. That's exactly what you're saying. And you have no clue what the fuck you're talking about. No, I'm tired, man. I'm tired of this. You know what this is? This is know-nothing commentators. They are expert deniers. Dude, have a little humility, will you? When you have somebody who's dedicated their career to this and they actually give a shit and they're actually doing studies and they come along and they tell you what the situation is with mental illness, how dare you arrogantly say, I reject it because it's my opinion that it's wrong? Who are you? You're a business commentator. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. It's the same thing for depression. We've covered stories on depression like this too, where there's so many people who arrogantly are like, oh, you're depressed? Well, why don't you, try to be happier? Oh, really? Oh, what a genius you are. Let me give you a round of applause, buddy. You're so smart, because that person who's depressed, they didn't think of that. That's what it is. They forgot to wake up and say, maybe I should try to be happy today. Obviously, they tried and they couldn't do it. Hence, they are depressed. They can't will themselves out of it. They've tried many times over and it didn't fucking work. But this is the same kind of know-nothing thinking, know-nothing commentating that they're doing here. I don't understand it because I don't have it, so it must be fake for everybody else, and all of it must be untrue, and it all must be a conspiracy. Have humility, understand that there are real experts in the world, and these things are real, and just because you haven't experienced bipolar disorder or depression doesn't mean you can just dismiss it for everybody else. It's a really dangerous thing, and it's something that shows you how myopic these people are.